It's a beautiful summer day here. We have Noelle with us from Petitti. She's the communications director for Petitti, and I like to think of you as like the guru for all things flowers, plants, gardens. You do a fantastic job. Thank you so much for joining us again at Eton.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Well, it's a beautiful day, so I'm glad we're kind of doing this little snapshot tour for everyone. We are partners for our gardens.
Yes.
And for the second year, we're so happy to be partners with you. Without you, we can't make our iconic gardens possible. So with so much knowledge and teamwork that comes together, we're so excited to be partnering again. So we're going to take a little tour to some of Noelle and I's favorite places in the Eton Gardens and kind of talk a little bit about, I don't know, what's the new trends, how you can recreate some of this at home. It's probably one of our biggest questions we get.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure at Petitti's too.
Sure.
How do you recreate at home? So
we'll get there for sure.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you right now, one of our best trends is taking your indoor houseplants and moving them outside. So everybody's really embraced bringing houseplants into the home, cleaning the air, all those types of things. Right behind us, right here, this is a perfect example. So this is a croton. A croton is normally a bright light plant inside the house.
Okay.
But this plant is great for outdoor containers. You can bring it outside, sunny areas. It'll develop some beautiful coloration on the foliage.
So unique, the coloring is
absolutely
just incredible.
I usually call this the firecracker croton, but it is a mammy croton, so that's the actual variety name. But they're great. They do wonderful outside. Don't leave them outside over the winter. You want to bring them back inside for sure. When we get a little bit cooler in the fall, usually in October, we'll start telling folks, you might want to think about bringing some of those houseplants back inside. So
that's kind of good to know. Maybe a good rule of thumb for anyone at home that has gardens. Maybe October, start thinking about the plants that you can bring in.
Yes.
Make sure you bring in the other ones. Maybe upkeep if you can keep them in the winter, or kind of take them out in general if need be. And we start here in April, kind of planting everything. Is that a good time to tell people at home too? Maybe you can start thinking about your plants in your gardens in April.
I would say like planting stages, and then we normally have to wait until usually mid-May before we get to that frost-free date.
And I mean, it took a little longer this year.
This year for sure.
But we had a conversation earlier that actually this year, with all the rain we got and then all this beautiful sun, it's actually been really good for plants.
The plants have been exploding.
Which is amazing. And a quick note too, because before Noelle showed me this, I did not know this was a croton mammy. When you come to Eton, be sure to look at the Petitti signs in each pot and around the garden. They'll tell you exactly what the plant is. So either snapshot with your phone or pick up a brochure that we have in the entrances and follow along. If you like a croton mammy, you're like, well, I have room in my house in the winter. Just take a snapshot of it and bring it to you, and you'll help them find one. I think that's awesome. Everyone always asks, how can we recreate at home? So I think that's a good way to kind of be able to get a lay of the land here.
We were talking also about maybe some deer resistant type flowers
that's
too.
That's a big issue for a lot of people around here too.
It is. And so I'm going to tell you one of the best ones down here. This is actually an annual vinca, and we call this the impatience for the sun because they have the same habit. They're sort of mounding and bushy. They'll branch out and they're continuous blooming. But those are great deer resistant plants. So if you do need something for the sun, a little bit shorter, like filler type habit out in the garden, lots of colors, that's a great one for it.
So deer will really kind of stay away.
They stay away from those. They stay away.
Still love plants maybe that deers do find fancy too. Do you have any tips, or when people come into the garden center asking, do you have tips for how to kind of maintain? It's difficult, I'm sure, but
it is. So we often talk about barriers. You have to place a barrier. So whether you place a barrier with fencing or netting, you can use barrier repellents. And so repellents will help create that barrier from the deer. And also making things less palatable for them. So you select the plants that are more resistant, whether they're fuzzy or they're stinky, a good smell or a bad smell, that's always a good repellent.
Oh, that's interesting.
So those are the types of plants.
Smelling, they might be good for the garden visually. Just don't let anyone smell it too close.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Exactly. So those types of things you want to keep in mind when you're shopping, and that will help in the long run. for sure. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for giving us those little insider tips, and anyone can go into Petitti's too and ask. I think that's a wonderful, one of the many wonderful things about your garden centers is you're all so knowledgeable. You have such a knowledgeable team that really can help you decide what's best for you and your lifestyle and your garden and your household too.
We always want to remind people that there's no plant that's impervious, but there's a lot that they don't like.
That's good then to know. And I have to stop you. This is probably one of my favorite areas in Eton. It's the Windling Garden right in front of Barnes & Noble. And I have to ask, are succulents still in? They were so in last year. Are they still a trend that's continuing this year?
Absolutely. And
this is my kind of plant, Noelle. You can't do too much to hurt it.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. However, what this season was, early on, you had to kind of wait to install some of the succulents outside because you don't want them to get too wet. They might rot out at the base. So as soon as it gets drier, your soil is draining, that's when you can go plant succulents. And I think they've even gotten more unusual. You know, we would start with things like little hens and chicks and the echeverias, but now you're seeing things like the sansevieria, which is a very common house plant, but it's a succulent. It's normally a low light plant inside the house. You can bring it outside into sunny areas and it will do fine. So it's kind of a neat thing that you can move these plants back and forth.
Portable. And do you suggest putting them with flowers? I mean, so much around here at Eton, we're incorporating plants in with flowers too. So do you suggest doing that? Does that help them, last longer?
As long as those flowers can tolerate the same conditions. So it's always key about growing conditions. They need to have the same light, requirements, need to have the same moisture requirements. So that's how those plants are going to grow well together. But if they're opposites in any of those areas, then you've got a problem on your hands.
Maybe keep them separate from each other, kind of like the cat and the dog, maybe sometimes,
Exactly.
Well, I think, and kind of going through these pots too, you had a great tip that you say you borrowed you have a thriller, a filler, and a spiller.
Yes.
So if people are making pots at home, is that a good thing to go by?
Yeah. So we're going to we'll go over here. Yeah. I think it keeps you a little bit more organized when you're ready to plant your pots.
Okay.
And so we'll look at this beautiful yellow hibiscus.
One of my favorites.
It's phenomenal. I mean, it's really loving its spot. So your thriller is your focal point. So we normally talk about with our customers, just say, pick one focal point, one plant that you absolutely love. And so in this case, beautiful yellow hibiscus, it's going to be your focal point. It obviously pollinator attractant and all those good things about it. That one needs to go inside the house in the winter, and you can grow it over the winter, and then you bring it back outside in the summer next year. And then below that focal point or that thriller, you want to plant filler plants. So filler plants are just going to fill in the soil around that thriller plant. In this case, your petunias.
These are gorgeous.
Absolutely. Beautiful color mixture of petunias there. And then your spiller plant is anything that's going to trail over the side. So this is your verbena. It's a very common trailer, but beautiful color combination. The corals, that tropical kind of peachy pink yellow, and then that bright black cherry, really, really gorgeous.
I just love it. I mean, when you look at this flower, it kind of transports you to a tropical place. So where are we going, Noelle? I mean, I'm thinking maybe Fiji or something, it kind of transports you a little bit, but well, thank you so much for giving us a tour, a little snapshot. Come enjoy the gardens here at Eton any day of the week. We have live music on Saturday evenings, so if you kind of want to enjoy the gardens, walk around, see a little bit of what Noelle and I talked about, get your guide, and then enjoy some live music, or just come on a beautiful day like today.
Yeah, get inspired.
And then come to Petitti. So you have so many locations. Where is the closest location to Eton?
So out of our 9 locations, I think our Oakwood Village store is probably our closest. It takes maybe 15 minutes from here. And it was our initial store. It was our flagship store. So
kind of go and see where it all began many years ago, right?
In 1971.
It's incredible. And we're so happy to be partnering with you. Thank you so much for giving your knowledge, and please come out and enjoy, and then kind of get some inspiration. Go do it at your house. There's still time, right?
Plenty of time to plant. There's always time to plant.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Noelle.
Thank you.
Thanks.